So I hope to make this a productive and informative session for all of you. I've been with the company for 5 years, and before I get started into the details of our presentation, we as a company spend a great deal of energy and time, first and foremost, understanding the real customer needs and customers' specific problems in various industries that we're involved in the commercial drone space. And what I mean by that is we spend a considerable amount of time actually spending specific time and resources engaging with customers in their environments, in their specific applications, whether it's a farmer in their field, whether it's a utility at their power lines, transmission lines, distribution centers, linemen that climb towers and inspect towers, whether it's railroads where specific inspectors assess the integrity and the safety of tracks within railroad yards. And so, or it's even oil and gas companies, as Marty mentioned, in the northern slope of Alaska, very harsh environment, and the tundra, where they take gravel out of a gravel pit, build a road on the tundra, and then obviously explore oil and gas and extract it and then distribute it. And what we learned is fundamentally, if you boil it down to 5 or 6 fundamental key gets, is number one, unlike what I refer to as toy or consumer drone market, which is a very, very different market. In this space, in an industrial commercial market, safety is by far the utmost important thing. Whether it's a utility person, there are statistics that many number of humans lose their lives climbing transmission towers in the United States. And so the safety of the system, the safety of operation, and the safety of the solution is incredibly important, no matter what industry you look at, okay? Because they don't do this for fun. They do this because they have to do it, and it must be done. And so with that comes in a tremendous responsibility and focus and emphasis on safety. Second, it's got to be effective. Okay, it's got to get the job done. So if it broke or something did not work, it's not acceptable. It just doesn't work for enterprises. These are Fortune 50 companies that rely on these systems to essentially run their business. And so for them, generally speaking, toy, consumer type products does not, cut the mustard. Third, it's what we refer to as ease of use. If you're a lineman, I met one 3 weeks ago with a very large electric utility that said, I've been climbing towers for 37 years, okay? I know how to do my job in terms of the tools that I have. The last thing I want to do is learn how to fly a drone or learn how to put a sensor in a drone in a camera or video device or a sensor, and then software, beyond me. Not that it's they can't. It's just that they don't want to and they don't need to. That's not what they're hired to do. Their job, they want something that is really easy and simple to use. Okay. And the last two is, of course, it goes hand in hand. The system has to be rugged. It's got to work in harsh conditions of what I mentioned as Alaska, as in the fields of Nebraska or Dakotas. And so farmers, railroad operators, they need equipment that work in harsh environments. And it's rugged, so it doesn't break. You don't have to replace parts all the time, okay? And then lastly, of course, it has to be reliable because of the fact that it has to work. And so these are the top, what we refer to as 5 key contributors or qualities and attributes that these specific commercial and industrial enterprises look for, okay, in drone systems. And so what we concluded is that we have to develop a whole new ecosystem that encompasses all of this. And so before I go into that, I wanted to share with you some of our history. We as a company actually spend more than a few decades of our life, company's been around for 45 years, and this type of missions and this types of applications of small UAVs with the military customers. AeroVironment is a publicly traded company, and we've been in business for 45 years. And well over 20 years, we've been working with what we refer to as the early adopters of small UAVs, which typically in many industries is the government or defense applications. And so today, we are the largest, by far, provider of military drones, defense drones, both domestically to US DoD as well as internationally to 35 plus other countries. It was very ironic and interesting to us that many of the attributes that I've shared with you earlier that commercial enterprises look for these types of capabilities bodes and resembles really well with our background and our history and what we do. So we're not focused on consumer applications, we're primarily focused on large enterprise and commercial applications. So as you can see, we now are taking the same learning and the same experience and success that we've had with defense space and applying it to the commercial space, but obviously developing new sets of tools and capabilities that meets the specific needs of this customer base. Okay, so let me give you a little bit more detail about our ecosystem.